Hello, I haven't made a video for quite some time and I've been on a card making spree recently, so I thought I would just show you some of the cards that I've been making before I sell them on Etsy. So this is the first one, just has a simple sentiment with some gems and some paper, and I cut out the cupcakes and stuck them on, and there's a bit of twine. And these all have matching envelopes, so I tried to put a bit of paper or some kind of embellishment on the envelopes. So that's the first one. Then I made this Fizzy Moon card. It's the one with the cute daisies, I really like it. And I used two ribbons together on this one because I just wanted it to be a bit more elegant, I guess. Than just using the plain stitched one. So that's the next one. And I've made a Forever Friends one. This is just the Champagne Celebrate bear, and I wanted to make one that could be used for different occasions, so I thought, you know, this could be graduation, new job, any kind of thing really. I know it has balloons in the background, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a birthday, so I thought that was quite a cool card to make. I also like that the cork is slightly popping off of the die cut, which makes it feel like it's more animated, I guess. I made another one with the Fizzy Moon with the daisies. I just love this stamp. This one I watercoloured rather than use pro markers, and I used up that scrap of ribbon that I had left and embossed the sentiment. Here is another Fizzy Moon card. This one has the really cute cake. I wish that was a real cake, it looks so nice. And I just put some like glitter on the party hat and the flower and some gems, and I've used the same sentiment there because I had the stamp out and embossed it. And I love this blue ribbon. I got it from Clinton's in sale. I think it was supposed to be for wrapping presents, and just because I had more of this paper to use up, I made another one of these, but this one's on a bigger piece of card. I made this Forever Friends one. I was on a bit of a Forever Friends kick actually. This paper in the background was originally like a light brown beige colour, and I really didn't like it, but I didn't want to throw it away, so I just used my distress inks to change the colour of it, so it's this kind of like purpley colour. I quite like it. It came out dusky, and I like the fact that the tone varies, and I just used some gems and stuff, and I wrote happy birthday on the gift to give it a sentiment. And again, like the other ones, I've embellished the envelopes on pretty much all of these. Another one with that Fizzy Moon bear with the cute cake, and this time I used a few more colours. I picked the colours from the background paper to make it all coordinate. I really love doing that. It really makes the card look bespoke and cohesive, and I just used some glitter on the background to make it look like it wasn't just completely bare. And I really like this card. I think it's really elegant, and I love the colour combinations. I really enjoyed that one. I made another two of these ones, pretty much the same. They only look slightly different because of the positioning of the paper. That was made from a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, which is why I had so much of it. Here is a Tilda one. From this Magnolia stamp. I've had this for quite a while. I think it's supposed to be a Christmas stamp because these party hats usually come in Christmas crackers, but I just thought it was so cute that I wanted to make a birthday card out of it. And I had this green paper, and I was I'd already stamped and coloured this, and when I put them together I was like, ooh, that's a really nice combination. And these are just some flowers I had in my stash, and some I think this is like a fibre that came from a Poundland pack a long time ago. Not quite sure, but I really love it. And just use a few gems and some glitters. Then I made this one. This is a balloon die from my favourite things. I've used this die loads. You'll see as I go through some of the other cards how much I've used it. I'm obsessed with it right now. And I don't know if you can see, but there's some very thin twine or thread around the balloon, which is the string. I didn't really want it to stand out too much because there was a lot going on the card, but I thought it was quite a delicate little touch to it. I also stamped the Celebrate All Day sentiment on this one, and I've edged the edges here with a distress marker and some glitter. And when I originally put this on, it didn't stand out very much from the background because it was white, so I just used my distress marker on an acrylic block and made it like a watercolour to colour it in, and I think it made it stand out a bit more. Yeah, I quite like this one. Considering when I started it I really didn't like it, I'm actually quite happy with the way that it's come out. So yeah, definitely stick with your cards and don't discard them, see what you can make out of it. You never know, someone else might really love it. Here is a pink and blue combo. I can't remember who makes this stamp, but the girl is really, really cute, and I've coloured her a few different ways and she looks really different every time, so I really like that about this stamp. I have a feeling it might be either CC Designs or maybe like the Greeting Farm or something, I'm not sure. But I love this pink and blue combo, and I put a bit of a lilac colour in there as well to balance the blue. And I think it went really well because the pink that I'd used to colour the girl was a slightly bluish pink, a lilac-y pink, so I think it balanced it really nicely. And I used a With Love sentiment on this one, so it doesn't have to be a birthday card, although the balloons kind of push it towards that. And again, I've made a pretty envelope. Then I made this birthday cake card. This is Cupcake Philip, I think, from CC Designs, and I used a what's this called? This is a clearly besotted Sweet Little Sentiments, I think. I absolutely love that stamp set. It's so universal and so elegant. I really like it. And I just used some gems and paper from my stash. And again, I did the distress marker and glitter combo just to make it stand out from the background. This one is a cupcake with some strawberries on it. Oh, this makes me want to eat cake. And it's really simple design, but I really like it. This is a bit of a cheatsy card. I don't really want to show you it, but I will, because it might give someone else an idea. So I got a birthday card from my mother-in-law a really long time ago, and it had butterflies on it. There was a few more, but I couldn't fit them on the card. And I cut this out of an old card and made it into a new one, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. It feels a bit cheaty, but it's not really, because once you get toppers for cards, it's not really much different. It's just because I'm so used to colouring and making everything myself, it feels like a bit of a cop-out. But I think it's really beautiful, and I hope someone will really enjoy it. And just to note, these little gems here, when I got them, are actually clear, and I used my pro markers to colour them to match the other embellishments on the card. So for example here I coloured this with my pro markers, it was white, to make it match the pink of the butterfly, and I did the same with my gems, and I've done that throughout on a lot of my cards. So once I used up my coloured rhinestones, I will only be buying white rhinestones from now on, or clear ones, because I don't need to have any colours. I can match them all perfectly with my pro markers. Absolutely love them. This is a cute little card. I was just using up scraps really from a paper pad. This is the strip that comes along the top of the pad, and it was something I was just going to throw away, and I really love the colours and the design of it, and I just thought I can't throw that away. So I just found this flower I got a long time ago and stuck a brad through it and kind of made a feature of it, because it had a hole in the middle where the paper pad would hang, so I just needed to cover that up, and I think it's really cute. I really like it, and I used my Wink of Stella on the sentiment, so it's a bit sparkly, which just love a bit of glitter. I am a glitter obsessed person. Another really simple card using up some scraps from another card that I made, which I'll show you next. And I really like the colour combination of this. It really intrigued me and it really challenged me to think outside the box, because I wouldn't normally put red, baby blue and purple together, but I actually really liked it. And I really like the use of white space on this one. It's really simple, but the texture on the back of the card still makes it look quite special. And I've got a matching envelope on that too. And this is the one where I went kind of all out with this colour scheme. I really ended up enjoying it, because I had these flowers to use up as well. When I saw this paper I was like, oh, it's perfect. And even though this one is pink rather than red, it's quite a reddy pink, so I think I got away with it. And yeah, I just put some brads through the middle and matching rhinestones on the white side. And I thought this was a really good example of not having to cover up your whole card with pattern paper. And I used the stamp and picked colours that matched. I wish I'd chosen a slightly different blue. When I first started colouring it, it looked quite a lot brighter. Unfortunately, it dried a bit darker. But I still like it. It's really nice, and I think it's quite funky, and hopefully someone will enjoy that. Oh, and again, sorry, before I move on to the next one, because this was a white topper to a white background, I used the trick with the distress marker again to make that stand out, because before that it was completely lost, and it gave it a nice little frame and I really like it. This was from a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, this background, and I wanted to use some more of it up, so I just paired it with these cute little flowers. I found when I originally put the flowers on they got a bit lost, so adding this white flag detail with the stitching, and also I added this sort of turquoisey colour to bring in the turquoise from these rhinestones, because they were slightly more green than this flower, and it looked really odd just having one bit of blue or one bit of green, so I think that tied it together really, really nicely. And I just made this a simple hello card, just to send someone to catch up with them. This one I'm actually quite proud of, because I was making an anniversary card for my husband, and I had these scraps of paper left over afterwards, and I thought it'd be really cool to do like an artsy graphic type card, because I don't normally do things like that, and I was trying to kind of stretch my imagination. I didn't have a U die, so I did have a Joy which is in the same font, so what I did was I die cut the Joy for another card, and I used the inside of the die as a stencil to draw the U and the O, sorry, the Y and the O, and to make a U, because I didn't have the U and the Joy, I copied the Y, except for I didn't draw the little tail, I just cut it off and changed the letter to be what I needed it to be. And then I did originally draw over the washi tape, but it didn't look quite right, so I cut it out very carefully with a craft knife and peeled it back up and kind of splattered some watercolour on it. And I really love this card. It was so simple, like it's almost a one layer card apart from this die cut, and I just think it's really effective. And I went to town decorating the envelope as well. I just really, really enjoyed it. So I'm really hoping someone will love that card, because even though it's simple, it's beautiful. And then I made this one. Again, this was a 12 by 12 sheet of paper that I cut down, and it's really simple. I paper pieced the little t-shirt to match the stripes to kind of bring it together, and I decided that my other accent colour was going to be the blue in this paper. So I used the buttons and did the candle to make it sort of prominent. And I tried to pick for the cake colours that were in the paper. So for example, the cake wrapper, the liner of the cupcake, and his hair are the same colour as the orange in the paper and also on his shoes. And I picked the yellows from the paper, and I picked this peachy colour from the paper as well. And even though I've used a lot of colours on this, it doesn't look too much. It looks all cohesive because I've stuck to the colour palette that was in my paper, so that was a really good trick that I wanted to share. This one's a slightly bigger card. I'm not sure it's going to fit on the frame, but just so you can see, I'll move it around. This is the Balloon Philip, I think, or Birthday Philip, I'm not sure. It's a CC Designs stamp, and I paper pieced the trousers. Originally I wanted the t-shirt to be this funky colour, but and the trousers to be this blue, but I didn't have enough of this blue paper to do his trousers, and so I ended up doing this funky trousers, and I actually really like it. I think it's really cool, and I'm really happy how nicely the pattern lined up on the trousers. That was a really unexpected coincidence, so I really love it. So yeah, I paper pieced that and the t-shirt, and then I used my Pro markers just to put a bit of shading on that, so it, you know, my colouring wasn't the only thing shaded because it would have looked really odd. So yeah, I tied it in really nicely, and then I did a balloon, but the green I picked was too bright, so I toned it down with my white Wink of Stella, and it came out really well. So I totally saved that, and I just used a die from Clearly Besotted, the Happy Birthday, and found some buttons in my stash to fill this space up because it felt like there was too much space going on here. So I really like this card too, and it's a big one, so it'd be great if you wanted to have lots of people sign it in the office or something. I don't know, I really like that. I wanted to just play with different sizes of cards. This is a card that I made, oh sorry, the camera's wobbling. This is a card that I made with my friend in mind, actually, which is why it's more of an artsy card. I'm going to make her a gift and send it to her with the gift, just to explain what the gift is and why I'm giving it to her. So I just used that Joy die that I spoke about earlier, and this is just a piece of paper that I cut down and stuck on a card, and it's really that simple. But to make it interesting, I splattered some watercolour on it to tie in the black of the sentiment, because it looked a bit stark originally, and it really helped actually. And the parts of the words that I really wanted to stand out, like hi, blessed, loved, cherish, just because I love you, I actually covered them with Wink of Stella, those little blocks, and then I covered them in glossy accents. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but in real life you can feel it, and it's really pretty. The next card, I made two of these. I really love the design, but I'm not very proud of my finishing on these. It's the first time I've really made a shaker card, and yeah, I really struggled with it. So I'll definitely be practicing them because I think it looks really beautiful. It's just where I didn't have a piece of paper that went all the way to the end, there's a slight dip here, and for that reason it's less than my 100% OCD perfect in my head, but it's still really beautiful. So I made two of these. Originally, the first one I made, I stamped on the acetate and I heat embossed it, and it warped the acetate. So I don't recommend doing that again. Yeah, that was a dumb idea. I don't know what possessed me to do that. I need to get some heat resistant acetate if I'm going to do that. One of the tips that I want to share with this card is that I actually stuck some of the sequins in the background higher up, so even when the sequins are at the bottom you can still see there's some interest on the top of the card. I think I got that idea from Jennifer Maguire, but I really like it because it makes sure that the card's still interesting, and it frames that sentiment there in the middle as well, so that's really pretty. I really like that one. This one I made to use up some scraps, literally, like these were little slivers of paper, and they were so pretty I just couldn't bring myself to throw them away. But I was thinking they're so tiny, literally what on earth can I do with those? So I was really happy when I came up with this idea. So I die cut the banner, then I stuck each of these little strips on, and then I die cut it again to make sure that the stitch border was on top of these pieces of pattern paper. And it took a bit of a jimmy to get it through the jimmy. I don't know another word for it. A bit of effort to get through the die cutting machine because it had additional layers, but it went through fine. It didn't damage my machine at all, so I was really happy about that. And yeah, I got the nice stitching detail. And then because I wanted to use the black cardstock up, I added some black twine and some little bits of black gems to just bring the black in. And I really like the contrast of the bright colours, the bright white against the black. I think it's really modern and funky. And I'm really happy I got to use these beautiful bits of paper. And then because I had some green cardstock left, I made this bigger one. I think this is a bit big for the frame, but hopefully you can see it. And I had these from a really long time ago in my stash. I think I got them again in the Poundland or something. And I just added some gems to tie them all in. And I really like the fresh, bright colours. And I had this die cut that I got sent with a purchase I made, so I just wanted to use it on here, and I think it's a really pretty card. Then I made this one. This is really cute. Again, it was some left from the same pack, and I just used the green to tie them all together. This is a different paper. There was a scrap left over, and I had a bit more, so I decorated the envelope as well. And these are some old gems from my stash, and because blue was a recurring colour, I thought it was a nice complement to the green. Yeah, so I really like that one too. As you can see, I've been really busy. There's about 40 cards here, I think. I made this one as well. Again, this was brown paper, which I don't know, I think I just hate brown. Yeah, I don't know why, I just don't like it. It doesn't inspire me at all. Even though my desk is dark brown, that's kind of funny. But anyway, so I coloured it with Distress ink, and then I did a spattering technique, which is why it's got this watercolour look to it. And I used some sort of goldish brown gems, and I used brown and red on his when I coloured in the stamp to make it all coordinate. And I really like it. I used glossy accents on the balloon with some Wink of Stella underneath. And yeah, it's quite funky. And I made another very similar one, which we'll get to later. Here's another Cupcake Philip one. This time I used stickles, and I did a red, white and blue theme. Yeah, I just really liked it, and I stamped the sentiment inside the balloon, and I used string, the twine as the string for the balloon, as well as putting it on the edge. I actually did that because I didn't quite cover the edge and I wanted to cover it up, and I think it just adds something really interesting to the card as well. So I really like that one. I think my stack of cards is going to fall over in a minute, but we keep going. This is another one. My auntie has this stamp, and I stamped it a really long time ago and coloured it in, kind of left it in my box. And I was like, oh, it's too pretty, I need to make a card out of it. So I used this fishtail banner flag from My Favourite Things. This is some washi tape, but I put it on cardstock so that I could have a bit of stability behind it to mount it to the side of this. And then I put some black twine here just to tie in the black. And I think it's really simple. I deliberately didn't put a sentiment on it because it can be used for any occasion then, which makes it a bit more versatile. This is the anniversary card I originally was going to make for my husband. And then when I looked at it, I was like, this is far too girly, I can't possibly give this to him. So I added it to my stash. But this is a stamp set that I got free with the magazine, I think. Oh no, it was one that I bought online recently from secondhand, and I coloured it in, and I looked at it and I was just like, I can't give that to him. But I really love the card, so I'm hoping someone else will enjoy it. My husband's quite a blokey bloke, so yeah, he does occasionally get cutesy cards from me, but I think he likes the more blokey ones. Again, I had some more of this paper left over and these scraps from the other card, and I just couldn't part with them because they're too cute. So I made this a love card. I did think this would be a nice golden anniversary card because it's got golden and congrats on it. yeah, so I really like it, but it could be any occasion. It could even be Valentine's or something, and I used the twine to tie in the black and white, and it's really simple. And I sketched the love word on the envelope and put a little banner on it just to add something to it. I can't remember. Oh no, I haven't showed you this one yet. It's very similar to the other one. I've made a lot of cards that are quite similar but all quite different as well, if that makes sense. I've used the same image over and over again in different ways is probably what I'm trying to say. Blah. So on this one, I wanted to stamp the greeting in the background, but I wanted to experiment with it and see if I could be a bit more playful. So I used the Hero Arts stamp set, I think it's called Celebrate All, and there was a few different sentiments in there, so I just stamped them over and over again, and I did the happy birthday, but I wanted to do the birthday in blue just to make it sort of stand out. And I did a Make-A-Wish because he had a candle on the cake, and I just thought it was really nice. And then I used the red and white twine this time to tie it all back in, as red was more of a theme on this card than the other one. This is another die cut I was given when I made a purchase of a die. I think it was Dies to Die For. When you buy something on their store, she sends you in the envelope a list of sample die cuts, which I really love because I get to see what the dies are like before I choose to buy them. But in this case I decided not to waste them and turn them into cards. So this is just a really simple card. I really like it. Could be for anyone. Again, I used the Clearly Besotted stamp set and the MFT stitched rounded rectangles die. Another MFT die, and this time I stamped Cupcake Philip inside the balloon and used that Clearly Besotted stamp again. And this time I decided to put a couple of little cute buttons on the edge just to make a focal point of that really, and to tie in the dark blue of the image I'd already coloured in because I didn't have that dark blue anywhere else on the card. And for some reason I wanted to put the dark blue at the bottom. I think it would have looked nicer, but I couldn't find my dark blue distress marker at that point, but I found it now. And then I just used this twine to make a curly balloon tail. Just in case you're wondering, this is tied down with Ranger Multi-Matte Medium. I put it in one of those fine tip bottles and I just squeeze a little bit on and stick the twine to it and put the glue bottle on top while it dries, and yeah, it's pretty sturdy. And then I glue it every so often, but I still want it to be a bit sort of fluid in its movement, so I haven't glued the whole thing. I think that worked really well. This is my husband's favourite. He's trying to shotgun it, but I want to sell it, so he might have to get in the queue. Again, I did the same technique with Distress ink on the background on the brown paper that I didn't like, and then I splattered it with water, and I've just used some gems on here, and I used a bit of twine as the bow just to kind of ground the card because it all seemed a bit on one side, and I really like it. And I used the inside of the balloon on the back. I've done that on quite a few of my cards actually, on the envelopes. Then I made this one, another really cute one. This was a die cut that I got from a magazine where you have to cut them all out and stack them all up, you know, the old school styly. So this one's really 3D, and the sentiment again was from a decoupage kit, so I just made it into a card and I think it's really pretty. I've also got some other cards behind me. This is going to be a really long video, I'm sorry. I didn't realise I'd made this many cards. I'll show you the pile when I finished. This is a Forever Friends card, same deal. Weird brown paper that I made pink, and I coloured some rhinestones to be the same colour as the parcel. Put a bit of glitter on it to make it sparkle, and cute matching envelope. This one is so different and I absolutely love it. I was going through a 12 by 12 stack and it had some, you know, the die cuts or the note cards that you can cut out the back. So I cut that out and I was looking at it and I thought that'd be really nice on a card because it's just the right size. So I found this paper that had like notepad type paper in the background, and I also really wanted to use some brads up because everybody has brads in their stash, and I don't know about you, but it's like I forget that they're there and I've never used them since I bought them. So I used it as an opportunity to use up some brads and got some coral ribbon to tie in the coral colour. So I really tried to make a feature of the blue and the coral, but I really like that the yellow is a nice complement, and I tied it in on the sentiment with the little flame there. So yeah, I really love this. Very typographic. I really like it. This one was another brown paper, but this time I decided to make it rainbow because that's like a massive theme right now. And I thought it was really simple and it could be given to a boy or a girl, even though it's got a bit of ribbon on it. I'm sure a boy would forgive me. Another simple one was brown, now purple, and this one I didn't put a sentiment on because I just thought it could be a card that somebody would include with a gift, and I really like the idea of that, so it's really customizable. And last but not least, I'm not sure what my favourite one is. This might be my favourite, I can't decide. I like them all, to be honest. But this one is just another Tilda stamp, and yeah, she's really pretty. Used the dark plum to bounce off the fact that all of the colours, all the purples are really different, so I decided, because that purple was really different to the background and I'd already coloured this, I thought if I include some dark purple it will tie it all in really nicely. So that's what I did, and it really grounded the card, and I put a little banner on the back with some gems as well. So they were all the cards I've made this week. 1 week I made 41 cards. Check it out. This is the pile. It is crazy. I can't even lift it up with one hand. Look, that's one hand. This is two. I have been on a card making spree. So I really hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, and I hope you got inspired and some ideas to use up your scraps and your stash. Thanks for watching.